Have you ever watched a movie and ever at any point thought to yourself, what are they doing? I could have totally done this differently, or I could do a better job than them. Whether it's your favorite characters running off from the group all alone by themselves in the woods with a killer on the loose in a horror movie, or just them trying to do a simple task like fixing a laptop. Well, as an artist, I get that too. So today I'm gonna challenge myself by taking famous art scenes from the movies as a hyperrealism artist to see if I can make my works better than theirs. So today we're going to be recreating probably the most famous drawing scene in the history of movies. The 1997 movie Titanic by James Cameron, where the famous quote, "Draw me like one of your French girls," came from. I think I've used that quote many times in my life, and to anyone that's not an artist, they just kind of look at me like, what are you saying? In this scene where the main female character, Rose, is lying naked on the couch, asks Jack if he could please draw her wearing a incredibly large ocean blue diamond on a jeweled chain. I remember the first time I saw this movie, I was probably in China with a bunch of friends in middle school. When I first saw that scene, I wasn't necessarily taking art too seriously at the time. I was good at it, but I was seeing it more as a hobby than something that I want to do full time, so I was incredibly impressed. So when I saw that sketch-like but also a realistic style, I was incredibly amazed because of how fast he was able to do it and how accurate it was. But now I've grown up and I've been a professional artist for a couple of years, so I wanted to challenge myself to see if I can do a better job than the movie Titanic, but in hyperrealism. Now before we start, we've gotta get into character. Now let's begin. So I contacted Kate Winslow about modeling for me, but she never got back to me, so I think that's a no. I grabbed the next best model I could find and posted him like a French girl. As you can see, he just got out of bed, so he's looking a little bit grumpy, but I think we can make it work. Next, I tried to look through my closet for a big blue diamond, preferably on a chain, but found that I didn't have one, so I decided to make my own instead. I labeled it diamond, so there is absolutely no doubt to any of the haters that it is indeed a real diamond. I cut it out to make sure that it's perfect. And there, amazing. First, I start with the shapes and curves of my model, my teddy bear, Kate Winslow. And I remember the very first time I saw this movie, it was in China, so it was with subtitles, so it was quite a different experience. Rewatching it a couple of days ago for this video, it was pretty different because a lot of the quotes that I remember are a lot different from what I had in mind, and as you can see in the sketch here, I try to get the rough shape of the figure of the face, where everything is, to make the sketch as accurate as possible so I don't have to do any more work than I need to. It's been a while since I've worked on these smaller pieces, so I've always used the grid technique for my larger pieces, so it was kind of a good practice for this piece to practice my eye and my coordination to get the proportions right and not have to rely on grids or any other accessories. So I start fleshing out the little details a little bit more in this part here and kind of showing where the eyes specifically are and getting the shapes more correct and accurate instead of just the rough rectangle. And I slowly start slimming this down to how it actually should be, so kind of erasing the lines that are not necessarily anymore and adding on more precise lines that are more fluid and kind of in this hatchy way, so I can keep on erasing and getting it cleaner every time. I've kind of forgotten how fun it is to just do these little sketches. I think I'm gonna go back to smaller pieces for sure in the future once I'm done with my massive drawing right now, just because of the pace that it's been going at, and slower pieces definitely finish a lot faster, obviously, because I think what I need right now is to start getting together a portfolio to show galleries and stuff that I can submit. So smaller pieces are definitely the way to go because they're not gonna take a year to finish. As you can see right now, I'm erasing the guidelines that I had earlier because I think for me personally, after I finish a part of the shading, especially the face, which is usually where I start first, I prefer to have a cleaner canvas so I can focus on the relationship between different parts of the body and the darkness. It's just a personal preference. You don't have to do this, but you can try it out in the future if you want. And right now I'm adding in a little bit more shading and kind of finding where the darkest parts are and where the lightest parts are, and to kind of determine where everything is in between. As you can see here, I'm kind of working my way and adding in some more guidelines as I go along, just because I need a little bit of direction, even though I erased most of it, but it still kind of helps for me to know where I'm going and working on, and as the shading gets further and further along, I start erasing them again. This fast-paced working environment is definitely a lot different. I think I completed this in about a day and a half. The recording actually took that long and not just what it showed, so it was actually really fun and a good change of pace from my old drawing techniques. It was definitely nice working on using a technique like this, just because how I usually work on larger pieces, especially massive ones, you have to show all the little details, so you have to put a lot of work into a different type of batching, whereas for this one it's a lot smaller, so I tend to blur a lot of the details out. And here's the final piece. Let me know how you think. So I hope you enjoyed that video. That was just something quick that I wanted to try to challenge myself to see if I can draw better than a movie scene, and possibly start this series called Hyperrealism, where I take movie scenes or scenes from shows or just any drawing related thing and see if I can do better. So if you have any suggestions of what I should do next, let me know, and comment to let me know if I did better than them or you think I did worse and I should try it again. And as always, I'm currently working on the largest drawing that I've ever made in my life, and as far as I know, it's probably one of the largest graphite drawings that's ever been made. So check out my Instagram for the process, and I'll be uploading weekly vlogs on it to keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you next time. Bye.